Happy Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you.
Call security!
What's up? This is Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppy, and I'm pretty pumped about my next guest. You can see him tonight at 8:30 and 10:30 p.m. at Side Splitters Comedy Club here in Tampa Bay. On the phone line is comedian Josh Blue. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing good, man. I was on vacation about 11 years ago, and we didn't have cable growing up, and we didn't have TV at all, and I actually got to see you doing Last Comic about 11 years ago, and I've been a fan ever since then. I was a kid in 6th grade, and, dude, when you were doing the whole tryout process for that, man, you had me laughing so hard, dude. You were really good on there.
Oh, thanks, man. You know, that was just such a fun experience to go on TV and make people laugh, you know?
So how did the process go? Did your agent tell you to try out for it, or did you wait in line and then try out?
So the year that I won was actually the second year that I tried out. The first year that I auditioned, I did the whole stand in line thing. I waited in line for about 6 hours in Chicago. And it was like negative 18 out. And, you know, I got in and I went in for the audition. They give you 2 minutes, and I didn't even get through my first minute, and they're like, next. Bummer. But then the next year, I had my agent hooked it up for me, and I actually got a real audition, and yeah, the rest is history, you know?
So how much pressure is it to try and clean up your act for TV and then try and make it into 5 minutes? Because a lot of times comedians can do an act as long as they want. So how much pressure did you have to clean it up for TV and then make it into 5 minutes or less and have the best product possible for them?
Yeah, you know, man, I was still pretty early in my career, so I really ultimately didn't have that much time put together yet. You know, I had maybe 35, 40 minutes of material. So picking from that wasn't too hard. And then, you know, obviously they can edit whatever you say, but I definitely tried to keep it, you know, television friendly, so they didn't have to bleep anything that I said. I find it harder now.
Did they ever tell you, Josh, that there were some jokes that you couldn't air that were maybe a little bit too edgy, or were they pretty open with the jokes you brought to the show?
There was definitely a few jokes. Usually it was more about, like, copyright stuff, or, like, you know, you don't want to say the name of a company or whatever. But I always have had a pretty good finger on the pulse of what is acceptable and you know, can get away with.
As a comic, are you ever nervous about saying a joke because you might offend people, or do you just go up there and you're just yourself? How do you approach comedy? Do you care that much about what people think? Have you ever had to edit your humor for the times of being offended by everything?
You know, man, I definitely, I try not to curtail my act. You know, obviously I'll do some shows where they request that I'm a cleaner comic, and then, you know, I'll give them what they want. But, you know, I'm very unapologetic about what I say. And, you know, again, I feel like I have such a good feel of what is appropriate that I can get away with saying horrible things, but make them in a way that is palatable for the masses.
What I like about your comedy, Josh, is it seems like it all comes from the heart and that it's very genuine. It doesn't seem like you're going up there to shock people. It seems like what you're saying is what you actually think, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of it is just based on my life, and I'm very open with sharing who I am. And, you know, for your listeners that don't know who I am, I have cerebral palsy, and, you know, I like to mention that early in the interview. Otherwise, everyone's like, "Man, that guy is really drunk right now." But you know, the thing is, I'm very raw and real with my life, and I'm very open about my disability. And I think when you come across and present yourself and of not being afraid of your own life and your own disabilities, people really eat that up, and people love it when you can be so comfortable with who you are, you know. the thing is, remind us that I'm so comfortable with it that you don't have the right to be uncomfortable with it.
How much has weed helped you out with everything you have to go through in life? Because you have your own brand of edibles, Josh Blue's Dream. How much has that helped you come up with comedy, and how much has that just helped you throughout your pain, throughout your life?
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you this. When I was a kid, I was actually a pretty uptight little dude and really kind of a sensitive fella. And then about 16, I smoked some weed and was like, you know what? It's really not that big a deal, and I don't know why I'm upset. So in the beginning, it was like one of those things that kind of helped me get comfortable with, like, okay, there's bigger things to worry about than having cerebral palsy. And then the benefit of it is, you know, as I get older and my body deteriorates from cerebral palsy, weed just makes me feel better and able to cope with it day to day, you know. And it's really cool that our country is finally embracing this miracle drug. I mean, it really is amazing. You know, THC is the part that gets you high, but there's also the CBD, which is the part that makes your body feel better, and they can separate the two components now, and you can have a product that you won't even get high from. You just feel better, and it's just so much better than Vicodin, and there's so many less repercussions and side effects to this drug, which is great, you know.
Isn't it crazy the first time you get high, it just, you don't feel like you're all there. You feel like you're a ghost. You know what I mean? The very first time you get high, there is nothing that will ever be like that ever again, you know?
Right. Yeah, man, you know, I think the first time I smoked it didn't really work, and then the second time I was like, uh-oh.
That's what happens is the first time you smoke, you think you feel something, but it's just kind of the fake effect. But then the second time is when you're like, okay, I think I feel something, you know?
Yeah, why am I going to Mars right now?
So does weed at times help you with your parenting? Like, let's say the kid's driving you nuts and the kid is just kind of being very moody. Would you say if you go in the back and smoke a quick bowl, it helps out at times?
Yeah, you know, and then, yeah, it helps not just with parenting, but day-to-day life, you know, going to the airport or going to the grocery store, you know, it makes me more patient, and I feel like a better citizen.
I allegedly one time smoked before I went on an airplane, and I swear to God, that time allegedly really helped me calm down, because I get anxious when I'm with people, because I'm like 6'8" and I'm tall and I'm weird, and I just hate being at the airport. And that really helped me allegedly relax. You know what I mean? Going to the airport.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, it just gives you different things to focus on, and you're not. It's hard to be mad when you're high, you know?
The one thing that was annoying, allegedly, was when I was at the airport, food's so pricey there that you want to munch out, but the problem is everything's like $10, so you end up paying like $30 for munchies, you know?
Right. You got to bring your own, you know, plan ahead. They will definitely take advantage of you at the airport.
Do you like going to the airport? Do you like the airport? Because since you're a comic, you tour all the time. Do you ever get sick of flying, or is there a part of you that kind of likes it?
I hate flying with a passion, man. It's the worst thing I do. I mean, I tell people, you're not paying me to do my show. You're paying me to go on a plane and deal with that. Like, to me, it's like airplanes. I'm not scared of flying. I just hate the whole process of the whole system. And, you know, TSA can suck it for all I care, man. It's the worst. I don't know, TSA to me is just a government jobs program, and they're not really protecting anybody. They're just taking people's lotion. And whoever came up with that idea was like, hey, I have a lot of stock in Johnson & Johnson. How can we take people's toiletries from them?
How bad has the airport got over the years since like 9/11 and since you've been doing comedy? How worse has it been each year through the whole thing of going through the TSA and just going on airplanes? How worse does the airport setup get each year?
I mean, they consistently are breaking it down. They keep making it worse for you, and more stipulations and more rules and regulations. And frankly, it's all BS. I mean, I don't think they're really doing much. I mean, there's a system where they're going to take your lotion, but you can keep your lighter. I don't know. Like, I'm much more dangerous with a lighter than a lotion.
What type of guy are you when you're on the airplane? Do you ever try to talk to the people next to you, or do you just put on your iPod and just listen to music or watch TV on your laptop?
Well, I mean, it just depends on the flight, depends on who's sitting next to me. I actually have a podcast called The People That You Meet in the Middle Seat, and I actually interview the poor bastard that sits next to me on the plane.
What's the weirdest person that you've ever interviewed on your show for that?
I mean, it's definitely, everyone's weird in their own respect, and everyone has their own unique set of problems. But I find people to be across the board really normal or really weird at the same time. It's hard to explain, but everyone has their own quirk. So it's hard for me to put my finger on just one weird person.
Now, going back to you being a dad, what was the biggest change right when the kid came out? What was the biggest change that happened in your life immediately?
Well, I mean, the thing is, when you don't have a kid, you have no idea what that is, what that entails, what that means. And then all of a sudden, this kid comes out and you're going home with a new baby and you're just like, uh-oh. There's no... It's like, oh, this is, I got to take care of this thing forever now. Like, this is, and definitely, your social life suffers, which is fine. And, I mean, I will say I never knew what love was until I had a child. I mean, being a dad is by far the coolest thing I've ever done. And it's also the hardest job that I've ever had. And it also is a job that you do for free. Actually, you pay a lot of money to do. So, that's it. I mean, you just, all of a sudden you are a full-time dad, and it's a full-time job, And I mean, again, I love it more than anything, but it definitely has taken some of the spontaneity out of my life. I can't just go, hey, I'm going to go to Thailand tomorrow. I'll just chin over kids or whatever.
Now, what type of dad are you going to be when it comes to when you show them your comedy? What age do you think you'll begin to show them what dad does?
Man, they've already actually been to my shows before, and they've been a part of it. They know what dad does, and, I will tell you this, they're not really big fans of mine on stage. They don't give a shit, frankly, but I mean, I'm not opposed to letting my kids do what I do. And, it's funny, people always ask me, oh, is your show family friendly? And I'm like, well, it depends on your family. Well, and the thing is, I mean, I can cater to the church group. The thing is that I find like those kind of people will have more fun if they were there by themselves as opposed to with their family where they have to pretend like it's not funny. But if they're there, you know what I mean? Like, if you're there with your mom and dad and I say something horrible and you want to laugh, and you're like, Dad wouldn't like it if I laughed at that, But if they're there on their own, I mean, my stuff is, I'm not raunchy, I'm not vulgar, I swear a bit, I do some off-color stuff, but it's not gratuitously sexual or mean-spirited. So even though I do swear, I found that my material is very accessible to a wide swath of people.
How do you deal with people that go there and heckle you, do you try to pretend they're not there, or do you go in on them since they're interrupting your show?
Oh man, the hecklers are my favorite thing. I mean, a lot of comics don't like that. I embrace it. Like, I mean, if you're willing to try to heckle me, I will tear you apart, and you're gonna find out why I have the microphone. You know, and I also feel like heckling is kind of a misunderstood thing. Like, people think that heckling is a mean-spirited thing, and 98% of the time it's not mean-spirited at all. It's just a drunk person trying to help.
Yeah, for me, the worst thing that happens when I'm in the crowd at a show is I hate the guy that tries to add jokes to the table. So let's say you said a joke, then the guy tries to add to it, and then his whole table laughs, and then I can't hear your next punchline. To me, that's up there with a guy that heckles, is a person that tries to add to the show.
Right. Well, I mean, to me, it's like, I'll give you one or two of those before I verbally bitch slap you, you know? Again, if you think that you can be funnier than me at my own show, then you're very mistaken. And that's the key to it, is like, you know, maybe you think you're funny, but I will make I'll embarrass you in front of your friends that you think you're showing off to.
Now, why should people go see you tonight here in Tampa Bay? What do you bring to the table when it comes to comedy?
Well, they should come see me because I'm here, first of all. I don't get to come here very often. You know, I've already done 3 shows so far. Tonight, the early show is already more than sold out. So, you know, with my show, when you come, it's I don't give you much downtime in my show. If you're not laughing during my show, that means I am setting up the next joke. So my laugh per minute ratio is pretty high. So to me, that is a one good reason if you want to come get a good solid ab workout. But again, it's like people have asked me what they can expect from my show, and the thing is, I don't ever even really know. I mean, I know it's going to be fun and funny, but I don't write anything down. I just go up there and go with it, and that really makes a show, I mean, so live. You know, you can tell that I'm not working off a script, and I think that a lot of people find that to be pretty difficult. You know, like the fact that I have 5 albums of 5 hours of material out there that I've never written anything down, it's pretty crazy, you know?
Well, dude, keep up the good work. I've been a big fan of you for over 10 years now, so it's been a lot of fun having you on the show, Josh.
Oh, well, it was my pleasure. I thank you for having me on.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour.